and gentlemen, it's that time where we, as being the marks that we are for wrestling, give our predictions and picks of what's going to go on for WrestleMania that's coming up next week, April 1st and 2nd. We are excited about this. Jonathan, I know you're excited. Clint, I know you're excited.
Yeah.
Curtis, I know you're excited. So, basically, for night one, what we have confirmed so far, we have Austin Theory and John Cena to kick it off for the U.S. title. Seth Rollins and Logan Paul has also been confirmed, and Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. Those have definitely been confirmed for night one. So, fellas, Austin Theory versus Cena. I say Cena's going to put Theory over. What say you?
I agree.
Yeah.
Cena has nothing to gain by winning, and plus, he's the kind of guy who's going to want to put over the future stars, help the business out. Plus, remember, Cena's first WrestleMania match was opening Mania for the U.S. title against Big Show. So, of course, that's another reason he's going to want to put Theory over, which is the right thing to do. Theory is the star of the future. So, yeah, Theory definitely wins this.
I'm going to agree, and because Cena's going over, and I'm going to add to that. Theory doesn't need to have the U.S. title any more than he already has right now. He's going to elevate further, and when it comes to championships, sometimes it's the man with the title, the man that elevates the title, and Cena has done that on more than one occasion, especially with the Open Challenges, which, by the way, were some of the best wrestling matches he's had of his career. Yeah. So he's definitely going to elevate that title, and who beats him, you're definitely getting a push off of that.
Yeah, you're taking a guy who was considered one of the best U.S. champions, and you beat this guy, then that puts you in the conversation as one of the best champions. Yeah, this is going to be a big help for Theory.
I would say best WWE version of the U.S. title. Now, U.S. title overall, one of the best, but the WWE itinerary, definitely the best.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think Cena puts him over, and I think Theory's a future main eventer and world champion. I think I could see him wrestling Cody.
Yeah, definitely.
I can definitely see that. So next we have Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. We kind of touched on it earlier, but we're going to go back to it. Logan Paul, as much as we may hate him personally, the man's been putting on great matches, and of course, you have Seth Rollins, definitely one of the best in the world right now. How do you guys see that match going?
I'm going to say Seth is going over because for the past 2 weeks we've seen Seth get knocked out. Seth needs a win. He is over, but he hadn't had a big major win in a while. Whereas with Logan Paul, him losing isn't going to hurt him because, what's the next step for him? We probably won't see Logan again to SummerSlam. And that's not a knock on Logan Paul. That's just the way they're using him. He's a special attraction, so they're going to bring him for the Manias and the SummerSlams and the Crown Jewels. He's not necessarily, trying to start a full-time career and go after major titles. So a loss here and there ain't going to hurt him. So, yeah, I think he's putting Seth over, but overall, it's just going to be a great match.
You might want to hang on to something because I'm going to be petty with my pick.
Okay.
I'm still going to agree with Seth with this one, but Logan Paul, the way he's getting nuclear heat, it's going to be like the Dallas Cowboys. When he loses, America wins.
This is what we're doing.
And absolutely. And
you knew that was coming, right?
I felt it. I should have known.
And you knew it. You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. But Seth, like you said, needs this. And it wouldn't make any sense to have him drop this match. And you could have this as one of your potential show stealers. But again, Seth is taking it.
Are there any special stipulations on that match, like a falls count anywhere or anything like that? Or
no,
just a regular match?
No.
I think I agree with you guys. I think Rollins is going to win. Paul's not a circus freak or whatever, just like you were saying, an attraction they bring out for the big shows. But he doesn't make himself look bad. He's very accomplished athletically, and he's a great. He respects the business. We were saying that earlier, and I think they're going to have a tremendous match. I think they're going to beat the mess out of each other. But in the end, I think Seth's going to win, and I think he's another person that could possibly face Cody.
Yeah, that would be a good match.
And they've already
Yeah.
wrestled and have history, so that you wouldn't have to build that up.
That's true. My pick, I'm definitely going with Seth. I think Logan Paul is going to be a spot fest person. At least right now, he's going to provide that one big spot, almost like Kofi and Royal Rumble, and he's going to do this for the big pay-per-views. So, like Clinton said, I agree with Clinton. I think he's going to show back up SummerSlam, Survivor Series, something like that. And I think that will be a pretty awesome match.
What do you think
And
he's going to
then,
do? The Shawn Michaels elbow through the table? You think that's going to be his thing?
well, it's kind of hard to beat the selfie elbow through the table.
That was pretty
Yeah.
It's hard to
sweet,
beat
wasn't it?
that.
That was pretty sweet.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
I mean, I will say that he gives us something new every match with Roman. It was the selfie through the table. At the Rumble, it was the midair spot with Ricochet. So
That was pretty sweet too. Yeah,
yeah.
you're
So
right. Yeah, that was.
I will say that every match he has is something different. Is that one big spot? So this is going to be something different as well.
All right. And of course, yeah, I can't wait to see that match. And then, of course, the last match that's been confirmed for night one, Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley for the WWE SmackDown's women's title. We know they have history before, so I think this is going to be a pretty good match. I got Rhea definitely going over on Charlotte to capture the title for the Judgment Day. What say you, fellas?
I'm definitely saying Rhea. I think they're going with the story was with the fact that when they fought the first time, Rhea was still a rookie. She hadn't even made it to the main roster yet. So we're seeing a new Rhea. We're seeing a different attitude from Rhea. Of course, we're being part of Judgment Day. Rhea is definitely going over.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Don.
No, you're good. Go.
All right. Well, I definitely got Rhea going over, and we're definitely going to see her take it to a new level. And I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I agree. Charlotte doesn't. Charlotte's like Roman. She doesn't need a belt. She's a 14-time champion. She's really got nothing to prove. And Rhea, her doing a job for Rhea and putting her over is going to elevate her. And she doesn't need a belt. She's she's the queen, and she's gonna pop the crowd no matter what. So I see Rhea winning, and rightfully so. She's a star in the making for sure.
Well, much like she said in her promo, diamonds are forever, and so is she. So now we don't have any more matches that have been confirmed for either night, but here are some other matches on the card for WrestleMania weekend. We're going to go start with the championship matches. So we have Bianca Belair versus Asuka for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. It's been interesting to see them going back and forth. I actually think Asuka is going to win the belt because Bianca's at a point, just much like Charlotte, she doesn't need the belt to be over with the crowd. What say you, fellas?
I'm going to go with Oscar also because I think they're not only past the point where, like you said, Bianca doesn't need a belt, but Oscar is on a different type of build now. We're building up this new Oscar, what a lot of people call Dark Oscar.
Is she a heel now? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Is she a heel now? Or
here's the thing:
is she a tweener or what?
They really haven't established that. I would say twin because she's had some heel tendencies, but Oscar has always been kind of that psycho. So
kind of crazy.
She's an anti-face, if you will.
Yeah, if you will. My only complaint has been the build up to this match. There has been, I don't know, this build up has been lackluster to say the least. It's nothing they're doing is making me want to say, hey, I have to see this match. The stuff going on with Carmella and with Chelsea Green, and we're not seeing. I think we finally saw some interaction between them once where she kind of attacked her from behind after the tag match. But I think I would rather see her miss her in the face. I would rather see her miss rather than just attack her. I'd rather see more build up. There hasn't been a lot of anticipation where, hey, we got a big fight coming up. It's just they're doing. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. How to word it. Something's missing from the build up for this match.
I agree. There hasn't been a whole lot of build up at all. It's just at first it seemed like they were going to build up with Asuka playing mind games, but Bianca really hasn't had any interactions to really retaliate. And that's my only gripe with it. But other than that, I think this will be a good match. I'm not going to have too much of a problem if I'm wrong on this, but I can see Asuka winning the title.
Oh yeah,
And-
yeah. I'm going to definitely say Asuka winning.
And since Muda, go ahead, Clint. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say I love Bianca, but yeah, I wouldn't be mad at Asuka winning it.
And it's interesting you mentioned the missing because I wonder because Muda's going into the Hall of Fame.
Hey,
Yeah, that's
wow.
Good tribute.
Which
Good
also rightfully so. That guy is a legend.
Exactly. Next we have Gunther versus Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship.
A scientific match.
To quote the great Big E, big men slapping meat, if you will.
Yes, sir. If you will.
If you will.
And Gunther's going to do most of the slapping.
But it's going to be a bunch of men slapping meat. Big meaty men slapping meat, if you will. I think this is an opportunity to put a belt back on McIntyre. Gunther has shown to be a great Intercontinental champion.
I think that guy's a star.
He has elevated that championship, and I think it's time for him to challenge for the world title as a possible contender for the winner between Cody and Roman. So I think getting the belt off him and putting it on McIntyre would definitely do good. What say you, fellas?
I think they're going to put him over. I think they're going to put the kid over.
I'm confused. Well, not I'm torn.
But I can see either way.
Yeah, I don't see Sheamus winning it. They're either going to put the title on Drew or they're going to put Gunther over both of them just to make him look more impressive.
I think he's a star. I really do.
There's nothing wrong with him continuing his title reign. There's nothing wrong with having, say, Drew pin Sheamus so that Gunther loses the title, but he still got his streak going. Gunther's not eating a pin either way, but it's just a matter of what we want to do with him going forward. Do we want him to keep the Intercontinental title, or do we want him going for the world title?
And also, we alluded to potential opponents for Cody. They've already got history from the Rumble, and Gunther looked amazing in the Rumble. He was impressive. I mean, he was impressive. I think he's definitely got star potential.
He's always been good, but it's like since day one of being on the main roster, he's been good. He just continues to get better and better and better. But I'm gonna go with Drew McIntyre because WWE needs for him to do something, and he's definitely the perfect guy to. Not that it needs elevating right now, but to elevate the Intercontinental Championship. And we've said a multitude of times, Gunther is definitely set for a push, and he's definitely got star written all over him.
Well, I think he's already is a star. I mean, gosh, come on, man. Everybody is fearful of those chops. Yeah. And side bet, who bets that Sheamus's chest would be actually beat red before the end of the match?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm taking that bet. I'm taking that bet.
You know what? And Drew's also. I think everyone's going to show some damage after this match.
His is just going to be a little bit harder to see because he's got a little bit more tan than Sheamus.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean that's not going to be a catch-as-catch-can match?
Well, I mean, we got three scientific.
They're just going to beat the crap out of each other. Yeah, it's not going to be Kurt Angle versus Chad Gable, right?
So I'm guessing I'm guessing a fair over/under would be 5 devastating chops throughout the match.
Oh, more than that. How many times?
It's going to be 5 per person. It's going to be 5 per person.
I can see that.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
And that's another potential match of night candidate, too, because think about Gunther and Sheamus, their one-on-one match, and then you add Drew to it. So
no, I think that match is going to be great. Yeah, you're right. I believe it. Awesome because Drew and Sheamus are both veterans, and they know how to make. I'm sure they know how to make him look good.
Gunther's a veteran too,
and he's a veteran too. Yeah,
he's new to WWE, but he's not new to.
And Sheamus and Drew are buddies, so they can just beat the absolute mess out of each other.
Yeah.
My prediction: that will lead off night 2.
That's a good, I can see
Yeah.
I
that.
was just going to say that.
I would
because
definitely put
you
that in the
need-
opening match.
I could see that, fella.
All right, next we do have the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship match between the Usos and KO versus Sammy. We've seen the build up. We know how it's going. We know how we got to this point, and I say that will start the crumbling of the bloodline with the Usos losing the belts to KO and Sammy. I just think everybody wants to see those two get a decent tag team championship run. What say you, fellas?
I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
mean,
there's any other way you can go.
yeah.
I mean, honestly.
it's the perfect end to the story is what we've been building up to. Plus, just to see KO and Sammy hold those belts together, because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, they've been tag champs with each other in every promotion they've been in, except for WWE. You know, so just to see them with those belts complete that story and the bloodline story. I mean, there's no other way to do it.
How do you think it happens? You think Jay or Jimmy, swerves, or you think that
No, I think
just what them losing just is what causes everything to start
Yeah, I
crumbling?
think just to lose him because a few weeks ago I was saying, well, Jay can go either way, but I think they firmly established that the Usos together, just like they've established that KO and Sammy are on the same page now. So we're just going to have a straight fight, and they're just going to outright win it.
I think it'll be a great match either
Oh,
way,
it's
no
going to be
matter
an
what
awesome
happens.
match.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be a fabulous match.
four
I
guys that
got
know what they're
KO
doing.
I got KO and Sammy as well. My only question is, what kind of sad, brokenhearted, Roman is about to get mad at us emotion are we going to see out of the Usos? That's the only question.
I think
And
it's going to be Solo. I think Solo is going to be the mouthpiece for Roman with a Samoan spike to one of the two, if not both, after the match.
Which will lead to the breakup. Yeah, that's great. I can see
I'm
that
gonna be
happen.
I'm gonna be a little bold here. I would say why not have that match be night one, and then you can have your audience think, okay, the Usos lost this one, and then of course you're leaving on a cliffhanger.
I like that.
Yeah, it builds up
And
tension.
That's good
for Roman.
booking. Yeah,
point,
that's
good
great.
point.
and the tension's building on what's Roman's mindset now. Because he's had a whole day to think about this instead of just probably an hour ahead. You're built. You
Exactly.
can.
Yeah.
So why not have that match?
And that's a perfect use of a 2-night WrestleMania because you can use night one to build up tension for night two.
Exactly.
It's a great idea all around. I like that idea, Curtis. Great.
Definitely. Now going into some of the other matches, before we get to the main event, of course, we have Brock Lesnar versus Omos. We've all had our opinions on how Omos is being used, and we all have questions about Brock. Can he actually put somebody over to pull out a great match out of Omos or not? I'm not sure. I somehow still think that Brock's going to win it, but Omos has to look good in order to justify him being in a match at Mania versus Brock. What say you, fellas?
Yeah, I think Brock is going over. The question is, can he put Omos over? And like I said earlier, is he a good enough wrestler to be able to get a match out of a broomstick? Can he get a good match out of Omos? And I don't know. This match is either going to be
2
surprising.
minutes.
It's either going to be surprisingly good or it's going to be a train wreck.
Yeah, there's no middle ground. You're right.
Yeah.
I agree. It's either going to be incredible.
Exactly.
It's going to be like the time we watched Cena and AJ Styles, and we were amazed at how we crack on Cena being 3-move Cena, and that was one of the best matches I've ever watched in my life.
It's either going to be the first match between Lesnar and Goldberg or the last match between Lesnar and Goldberg.
So we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
It's either going to be amazing or amazingly bad.
What do you think the over?
Exactly.
What do you think the over under on match time is on that 3 minutes?
I say 7.
You say 7 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, Lesnar's entrance will be 2.5. So I'm just kidding.
Well,
It's not that
yeah,
long.
take interests aside.
Yeah,
It's WrestleMania, so it might be 7 minutes.
It's WrestleMania, so they're going to let them do the Hogan Andre face off, I'm sure.
You know what? Speaking of that, I wish they still had those. Remember those little carts they had was that WrestleMania 3? Weren't those awesome?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those were great. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
given that it is in SoFi and how big SoFi
Wouldn't
is,
that be amazing if they had those again? Like, remember Bobby the Brain getting pelted with debris after the match?
that
Oh,
was pretty awesome. That
That
was
was
pretty
great.
awesome.
Yeah. Good times, man.
That was a different time, though. Different
Yeah.
time.
and you know what? Why not have? I mean, because it's MVP, you can have him kind of bling it out. I mean,
Yeah, the
maybe
gold
that
suit.
won't happen, but maybe
Did you
that won't happen. This
Speaking of
will work.
MVP, did you guys sit the thing in the chat? Did you see him cracking on Pat Tanaka for owing him money for crack or something?
Yeah, I saw that on
Oh,
Twitter. Yeah, one
Yeah,
Wow.
that was weird right there.
hmm.
and it just kind of came
Let-
out of nowhere.
Let
Like,
it go. Let it go, bro. It's been how many years? Just let it go. It'll be
Hey,
fine.
I mean,
Okay.
if it's
Go
been any
ahead.
kind of years when it comes to money, then there's probably a good chance you won't get it back.
Probably.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what business you're in, it's always going to be hard to get back money you lend out.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, and I forgot my prediction. Brock's going over.
Yeah, I believe Brock's gonna
yeah,
win
Brock.
too. I
think
can't
we
see
can all
almost.
agree on that.
Speaking of Brock, how much longer do you think he's gonna be wrestling, guys? Another year, maybe, or two?
I think he's got longer than that because
Think so?
he's only wrestling like 4 or 5 times a year.
That's true.
I mean, to him, it's easy money at this point. So,
Exactly.
and he loves money. So,
As
I
long,
mean,
as long as he's strong as an ox.
He's still in good shape. Yeah, he's not too
I think
worn
he's
down.
going to do until he says, you know what, I don't care about the money anymore. I'm good.
Exactly.
And at that
So
point, yeah.
I will see plenty of Suplex City for a while, in my opinion. Now we have Becky Lynch and Lita, who are the women's tag team champs, along with teaming up with Trish Stratus to go against Damage Control in a 6-woman tag. I really think this would be a good opportunity to do something with Damage Control. I mean, they had a little run now. They're kind of being pulled back. I think this is a good opportunity to get them a shot now to get back at to get the world tag titles and possibly create a match between Bayley and Trish. So what do you think, fellas?
Are the belts are not on the line?
They're not allowed.
No,
Which
it's a
I
six-woman
I
tag.
would rather have the belts on the line. As a matter of fact, rather than Becky and Lita winning them, I would rather have seen Lita and Trish win them with
That
Becky
would
in their
be
corner. Because imagine that you got Lita and Trish as a tag team champions. They're legends, and then you have them defending as Damage Control, put them over. Which I think they're going to put Damage Control over at Mania anyway. But imagine them winning the titles from those two legends in particular.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, I think Damage Control is going to win. That's kind of a little weird if the belts aren't on the line.
Yeah, I hate
WrestleMania.
seeing belts not being defended at WrestleMania.
But I think we were talking earlier about maybe Trish turning heel, so I think that's going to have something to do with the match. Maybe she's going to turn on Lita or something that's going to cost them the match.
Or
No.
Freebird rule for the women.
Good point.
There you go.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Speaking of legends, the Freebirds, man.
Yeah. Are you hitting that? What's in your stable or?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
No Freebirds in my stable. Well, I already said Andre was in there. He's one, but no Terry Gordy. None of those guys are in there. But no, I always like the Freebirds, man.
Yeah, that's great.
What say you, Curtis? Who do you got?
I got Damage Control going over.
It makes sense, but at the same time, I'm with you, Clint. If you got belts, they need to be defended.
I agree.
All right.
Unless they're going to put the legends over at Mania and then have Damage Control win them back later.
That would be a strong possibility because right now, and maybe with kind of leading up to the showcase, which we'll talk about later on, maybe we can actually start getting some actual opponents for the belts.
Yeah,
and I think having Damage Control will having the belts would do a lot.
It's kind of funny. Last year at Mania, you had Naomi and Sasha won the belts, and then they left because they felt like the belts weren't being treated right. And now a year later at Mania, The belts aren't even being defended, so they kind of had a point.
Serious point. Serious point. Next, we have Edge versus Finn Balor in a Hell in a Cell match. This has a potential of being a show stealer. Just being in the Hell in a Cell environment. I think because of what's been going on, you kind of, even though popular perception say maybe Edge should win this, I think Finn needs to win this. I think this because if you're a leader of a faction, you can't constantly take L's.
I think
And
Finn's
Edge,
going to win because what does Edge have to prove? He's a Hall of Famer. He doesn't need to win.
exactly. That's my point. He doesn't
So
need to win.
give Finn the rub, and like you said, yeah, that elevates him.
I mean,
That elevates that faction.
I could go either way because on one hand, yeah, Edge doesn't need to win. You can elevate Finn, especially if he's coming as a demon. You have the demon debut at Mania. You don't really want the demon to lose like that. But on the other hand, storyline wise, you want to see Edge get the payback, especially after they took out Beth and this whole build up. It could go either way.
It's definitely a toss up. Curtis?
When you bring that up, that's a toss up, but I got to go Finn on this one. I mean, it's a Hell in a Cell, and if you throw the demon in there, you're gonna really put yourself in a you're gonna have all kinds of boos and negative heat if you don't put him over. So Finn's got to take this one. He's got to have.
How many times have we seen the demon actually lose since it's been in WWE?
Once. That stupid match with Roman with the stupid end.
Yeah.
Well, the match was great. The ending was stupid. The finish.
Well, technically two if you count NXT, but main roster one.
So I think the demon definitely needs to get a victory since he's coming out. Now we have the soon-to-be Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio versus his son Dominic. One-on-one matchup, no stipulations. I think this is a perfect send-off for Rey, and I think Rey losing and putting his son over would be his pride and joy of being able to basically say, "This is my career."
And to do it at WrestleMania, what father wouldn't want that? If it were me in that situation, yes, I would beg and plead if I had to. Yes, I want to put Dominic over. So Dominic's going to win this. Plus, it continues the great heel run that Dom has going on. Rey doesn't need that win. He's already going to the Hall of Fame. It doesn't make him look bad. It just makes Dom a stronger heel. There's no reason for Dom to lose this match.
And there's a way you can have both of them look great in this match. And again, we've said it before. Dom is getting it. He's only going to continue to get it. He's going to get better. But Dom needs this match.
He definitely does. I mean, like I said, you can't get more poetic than if I'm going to retire at this point, which he hadn't indicated it, but I think he could. Why not do it at Mania, putting your son over to be that next superstar to take your spot?
And going in the Hall of Fame, that's a perfect send-off. You can't.
This feud is missing one thing, in my opinion. They probably don't want to acknowledge it because the idea was stupid. But I wish at some point between now and Mania, Don will go, I wish Eddie won that ladder match.
That would be a great.
That would be awesome. The ultimate petty if he's pulled that out.
There has been somewhat of a reference to that, saying "I wish I was Eddie's son," but
but they have not acknowledged that custody ladder match at all. Which again, I can see why they don't want to, because a ladder match for custody of someone's child was a stupid idea. But I wish they would have been ready to just throw that petty out there. I wish Eddie won that ladder match. I mean, I really want Dom to change his name to Dominic Guerrero just to really stick it to him. But
you think he's gonna come out in the lowrider?
That would be
epic.
I would love that.
It has to have a dark green to it. It has to have a dark design, but I'm good. I'm good.
Yes, that would be awesome.
And it still has to have Latino heat on the trunk.
Oh wow! What if he? I'm sure they've got the rights to that. So why couldn't they do
still
that?
own the rights.
Yeah.
They probably
he
still have
comes
the
out in a
car.
Latino heat shirt.
Oh, does he? Okay.
I think they still own the rights, so WWE owns the rights. But I
Well,
still
yeah.
think he needs to come out to like a
I mean,
Latino Heat shirt
that's heat right there.
Yeah.
That's just
and,
heat.
That's
and come
Latino
out
heat.
to the Eddie
Latino
Soul
heat.
theme as well.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
nuclear heat.
If you come
Man.
out to Eddie's theme,
Not
dressed in an
Bubba Ray
Eddie
Dudley
t-shirt
heat, but
and a
pretty
low
hot.
rider, that shows the WWE
Because I
gets
think
together.
I'm sure Vicky would sign off on it because she even mentioned, she had no problem with Eddie's name being in the feud and she loved it. She supported anything
It keeps him
Ray and
alive,
Don
so I
wanted.
don't know why she
Yeah.
wouldn't. Yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly.
she was
It's
fine
not
with it.
disparaging or anything. Yeah, it's all right.
I mean, he's a part of that story, so yeah.
God rest his soul. He was incredible.
Exactly. Godspeed to Eddie Guerrero.
Amen.
Yeah.
Now, here's a match we're still not sure if one's going to take place or not. Bobby Lashley was originally scheduled to take on Bray Wyatt in a match. However, Bray's been out sick due to some undisclosed sickness. But Bobby did say on social media that he does plan on having a match at Mania. So in this case, do you think maybe this is a setup, a kayfabe setup to Uncle Howdy actually
That's what I was
possibly
going to say.
facing
Maybe he's going to
Bobby
wrestle Uncle
Lashley
Howdy.
at
Yeah.
I
Mania?
wish, because this whole build up since his debut has not really gone anywhere. So I wish this was kayfabe. I hope it is. I wish they were doing something where we think there's not going to be a match. Maybe Bobby comes out, he talks a little trash, then the lights go out, and then we see Alexa come out, or we see Uncle Howdy. We see the fun house. I want to see a culmination to this build up. We've been getting all this stuff. We had the Locust logo behind Alexa when she was doing her promos and her issues. We've got Uncle Howdy. We've got the fun house. I want to see it lead to something. So, yeah, I would love to see something happen. I would love to see us get marked out and get fooled into thinking there's not going to be a match, and they pull out something, even if it's not an official match, even just a beatdown, something to justify all this buildup we've gotten. I want to see this go somewhere. So yeah, I hope so. I hope they get to do something with Bray and Lashley, even if it's not a full match. They get to do something at Mania.
I hope so too. Now, I also want to say, considering if Bray is legitimately sick, hopefully, and if he is, we hope he gets well soon. But
Definitely.
it's going to be interesting. What can you put Bobby Lashley in? Because again, you have the whole talk about he wants a match, but can you throw him into something that's going to be worth watching to at least lead to something? And I'm just not, for some reason, I just don't see that happening.
Well, here's a wild card. We know there's rumors that Jay White has left New Japan. It's a possibility of him signing with WWE. Hasn't been confirmed yet.
Is that confirmed that he's
What if
out?
they keep-
That his contract is ended? Because I've seen conflicting reports.
I think it's
Right, that's
confirmed
what
his
I'm saying.
contract
So
is
we
ended,
really
but we
don't
don't know
know.
where he's going.
Right. What if this is one of those things? Triple H, every now and then he's known to have an ace
But
up his
against
sleeve.
Bobby Lashley, though,
Do you put
okay? Think about
do
like
you
this.
put him in on the main roster or NXT? I don't think he needs to go to NXT. I think he's main roster material.
I mean, neither is Dragon Lee, but
yeah. I mean, I guess it's wishful thinking, but if there's somebody unsigned that is a total surprise,
LA Knight against Jay White would be a good match, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have to take Lashley out of Mania,
but again, the build-up factor.
Basically, to kind of clean up, I think if we're not able to do some kayfabe as far as Bray actually being able to make this match, Jonathan alluded to it. LA Knight, this might be to throw in a filler match. Bobby Lashley, LA Knight. LA Knight, I'm pretty sure he feels he beat Rey Mysterio. SmackDown, he needs a match. Bobby needs a match. Filler match that probably end up being a 5-minute squash.
I mean, you gotta think you're in LA. You gotta have LA Knight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, dummy. Yeah.
They'll make up a story. They'll have him come out. They'll have Lashley come out, do an open show. Or maybe LA Knight. LA Knight will come out, cut a promo, do what he does. issue open challenge. Then Lashley answers and
He'll get
kills him.
squashed, and poor LA Knight is back to being
But he gets his
Mansoir.
WrestleMania. He gets to get his WrestleMania moment, and you know, LA Knight
Maximum
deserves it.
male models. That killed the poor guy. My word.
Yeah.
I mean, he did a great job of recovering. They just don't have other plans for him right now. It doesn't look like. But I mean, he recovered from that because I mean, who remembers him being a part of Maximum Male Models? Who really thinks about it?
The only part
I think he's
of that
washed
that
it
I
off.
the only part I think about that is they are including a potential future up down down champion, but I mean,
Yeah, but you know that's gonna go to the other side of fandom, if you will.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how WWE pulls that off, if they're able to get Lashley on the card or not. So next we're going to actually talk about the showcase matches. The first one we're going to talk about is the Women's WrestleMania Showcase Fatal 4-Way Tag with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez against Natalya and Shotzi against Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. It does feel like a filler of we're going to be able to get these people on the show.
Everybody gets a trophy.
Yeah.
Right. I think this would be a good spot for Ronda and Shayna to win and to actually be able to go for the women's
Titles.
tag.
Yeah, make them look
Now,
dominant and beat everybody
even
down.
though I know there's a strong push to get Raquel Rodriguez more time on screen, but we've seen her as tag team champ. Didn't really go over that well. I think it'd be good for Ronda and Shayna to actually be the women's tag champs at some point.
So, question: are they not doing a women's battle royal this year?
They're not doing the battle royal period. They're doing showcase matches,
So
and
they're not doing the Andre either.
Andre battle rolls on SmackDown. It's on the Go Home SmackDown.
Yeah,
I never liked that idea. I think they should have kept the women's battle royal instead of having this tag showcase match and just throwing together a random tag team. Because I mean, come on, Natalya and Shotzi, really?
That sounds like the Soul Train Scramble Board match or something. You just like throw some stuff in a bag.
Exactly,
and
you know, and that's
you get a match, and you get a match,
if you're
and
just
you
trying
get a
to give a
match.
payday, then just have a battle royal and put every woman who's not a match in the battle royal. You know, that way you got your Lacey Evans and you got.
And then everybody gets some TV time, and they're on the show, and they feel good about themselves, and they get their spot. And
like I said, either let Ronda and Shayna win it, or if you're going to have somebody from Raw win it, let it be Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Even though I think Chelsea is good in her role right now as far as not being able to get anything that she wants, but at some point, you have to make it a reason why you brought her back.
You think they brought her back just to get her husband to come back?
Who knows?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Maybe not. Maybe they brought her back just because she's just a legitimate good talent, and Triple H knows talent. Whether they have a plan for her or not right now.
I'm gonna go Ronda and Shayna because we've been waiting time and time again since Shayna has went to the main roster to get back to her just kicking butt and taking names. And remember that one little line from Ronda saying, "Remember when you were a killer?"
Yeah,
something to that
Ronda
point.
and Shayna should be destroying the women's division right now. Just especially considering the run that Shayna had in NXT. You know, they should just be straight murdering everyone. So yeah, I'm rooting for Ronda and Shayna to win this match just to get them back on that pathway.
And think about it like this: Becky Lynch and Lita going against Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler for the women's tag. That could actually be a very good matchup.
Yeah,
I would pay to see that.
Especially since
because
we never
Ronda and Becky already have history.
And Shayna and Becky also, and we never really got to see a good feud from Shayna and Becky. So, yeah.
And plus that'd be a good way to eventually write Lita off because we don't know how much longer Lita and or Trish will be with the company.
Yeah.
And of course,
I agree with all that stuff you guys said.
And on the men's side, the men's WrestleMania Showcase Fatal 4-Way Tag, we have Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Viking Raiders versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. This was a hard one to call.
Not for me. I'm going to go with Street Profits because they need a win. They have been killing the Street Profits for the past few months. When was the last time the Street Profits got a win? They both just lost to Austin Theory. You had Dawkins lose trying to get into the chamber. You had Montez lose in the chamber, which, despite, he was the MVP of the chamber. I will give him that. But he
Yeah, he looked
lost in the
tremendous.
chamber. What was, him lose to the Usos for a while. They need a win.
Well, one thing is for sure, Alpha Academy is definitely not winning this match because of what Otis has going with Maximum Male Models.
Yeah.
Well, I think this match is going to kind of tease that a little bit. Also, tease, are they going to split up or is he going to go with
Which
the
they need
models?
to. Which they need to for chat's sake.
Yeah. So they're going to tease that. But as far as actually putting someone in a spot to elevate them, go with the Profits, I'm going to say.
I want the Profits to win, but I just have a really it's not a very good feeling. I have a feeling they're probably going to put it on Braun and Ricochet because, again, attraction, and they basically put them over way more than the Profits, especially as of late.
I wonder if this may be a start of the split because we've seen Dawkins be awesome in the singles run. And Montez basically does look like he will be a future champ.
Yeah.
So not necessarily say they got a feud with each other, but maybe they look at each other and be like, you know what, bro? We've been together for a while. We've been tag champs, but lately we haven't been able to get any victories. Maybe it's a sign for us to move on.
Yeah.
And that's
I would
that's
agree with
why
that.
and that's why my prediction is Ricochet and Braun.
I mean, if they're going to give them some singles wins once they start pushing individually, then I go with that. In that case, then who would you have win this match?
I'm good. I'm with you, fellas. I think Ricochet and Braun Strowman, just because right now they're the popular novelty act. However, why not do something with the Viking Raiders?
I mean, they gave me this big hype for them coming back. It's supposed to be big powerhouses.
You might as well.
Yeah.
Because the other teams can survive without a victory. Those guys need a victory.
Yeah, they're kind of falling to the wayside. So yeah.
But the only problem there is they haven't been able to stay healthy. It's
that
not
is
so
good
much.
question.
I mean, you can give them all the pushes in the world, but if you can't stay healthy, it's not going to mean anything.
So let me ask you, out of this group, who do you think would be a good viable challenge to the winner of the Undisputed Tag Championship match?
I would say the Viking Raiders.
Especially if KO and Sammy win.
Yeah.
In that case, if Sammy and KO win, I would go Viking Raiders.
Because Sammy and KO are really just winning this match just to push the end of the bloodline, to kind of go with the bloodline feud. They don't have to have the titles long term. So they would want to drop them out rather than drop to the Viking Raiders and have the Viking Raiders just destroy the competition and hold the titles for maybe a good year to next year's WrestleMania.
What do you think, Jonathan?
I think it's going to be Strowman and Ricochet probably. Although I don't see that being a good match with KO and Sammy. I think Viking Raiders or even the Street Profits would be a good match for them.
Yeah, I mean, Street Profits are the Street Profits. I mean, we definitely know they're the best tag team in this match.
And Montez's performance in the Elimination Chamber was amazing.
Oh my God, yes,
incredible.
Oh, God.
Montez is crazy athletic, and we could see more of his persona come out.
And
Adam has
honestly,
the
I thought he was legitimately injured. He did a great job selling that
Yeah, he did.
whole injury thing because I thought he knocked himself silly, but he
And
didn't.
cannot steal a phrase from Jay-Z. He's got the hottest chick in the game wearing this chain.
Montez is
Yeah,
going to be a
yeah.
WWE champion, I would say, within the next 5 years.
I'm gonna say less time than that, Clint. I think 3. I think in 3 years' time he'll be a champ. If not a champ, he'll definitely be in the picture.
Yeah.
I'd
Because
say
I know Triple H is going to push him, and I think Vince even had his eye pushing him also. So
Yeah,
at I say worst case scenario, in 2 years he's in the running.
exactly, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, he'll definitely be in the running, and I think Dawkins is going to have a good mid card run as well. I think he'll be a great Intercontinental or U.S. champ, either one, because he's shown that he can actually go in the ring and have a good match.
Yeah.
And he's gotten in even better shape too.
It definitely, and you can see that from him and like Gunther. We see those guys that come up from NXT. Yeah, they may have been looked a certain way, but I think Triple H is basically still keeping some of that Vince mentality of we need you to look good on screen. And those guys are definitely have looked a lot better on screen.
Gunther's completely transformed his body. He looks like a totally different person. He's still intimidating, but he's slimmed down and he looks like he's obviously he lasted over an hour in the Royal Rumble for a reason because his conditioning is way better than it used to be.
Exactly.
And that makes him more dangerous. So yeah, absolutely.
That's why I think that match might be one of the matches to watch.
Yeah, definitely will be. So now we get to the main event, which will be on night 2 for sure. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship.
Oh, they're wrestling? I didn't know that.
This has
I thought they were just cutting promos against each other.
And
what about those promos, man?
Man,
you have seen some of the best mic work out of Cody ever since.
All 3 of we've seen the best. This has been a masterclass of promos from Cody, Roman, and Paul. We've seen Paul. I mean, Paul Heyman is always great, but
spoiler alert:
Roman and Cody are just putting the best out of each other with the storyline, and making it personal where it wasn't personal before. Especially they brought Dusty in it, but they brought him in the right way. It wasn't
in a classy way.
Yeah, it wasn't throwing Dusty's name out there just for the sake of throwing Dusty's name out there. It made sense.
Right.
They made it classy, baby.
Yeah, it's
if you will.
It's hard to believe that Roman, what was it, like 4, maybe 5 years ago, Cena had to come back and basically school him on doing a promo.
Yeah, he was going to suffer.
What did he say? Go ahead. What did he say? Go ahead. I'll wait.
Yeah,
or something like that to him.
It's
He's
a
like,
promo.
go ahead, I'll wait.
It's called a promo.
Yeah. Wow.
To see where Roman is now, where Heyman doesn't have to say as much to Roman, for Roman, I should say.
He doesn't need Heyman anymore.
And that's why, we're getting to the point of, are we going to see the final, are we going to see the cracks? Like if we put the Usos and KO night 1 and the Usos lose, do we see that final break of the bloodline with Cody winning the championship? I think at this point, if his rumors are true that Roman's going to take time off,
I think
this is the perfect time to put the belt on Cody.
Yeah,
and let Cody run with it, because I think he is showing that he can run. He can run with the ball. He can take the ball and run with it, if you will.
I think I think leaving AEW was actually good for him.
Good point.
It's funny that he's getting over doing the exact same thing he was doing in AEW. It's not like he changed anything. It's the same character, same theme music even, and he's over where they were booing in AEW.
But remember, with AEW, he did not have the star power in that other opponent like he has in WWE.
Well, I mean, Roman's been champion for what, 2.5 years or whatever. So it's basically like it's like a Hogan Andre type of deal where you either hate the guy or you like the guy. So Cody's getting that rub.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was facing people in AEW, I can't even remember some of the mean, he was the TNT champion, right? He never had the belt
Right.
in AEW. When he was facing Brody Lee was great. Yeah. I mean, God rest his soul, but he's not Roman Reigns.
Well, I put it like this though: if Brody had not passed, unfortunately, I think
He would have been a
Cody would have been.
AEW
Yeah,
champion.
exactly.
He would have been a lot better off with Brody there because Brody was on his way
Yeah.
to be AEW champ. You saw that coming from a mile away. But as unfortunate as it was, he passed away. So
I think Cody should
but
have turned. He was so adamant about not turn. Maybe he's kind of like a heel because the bloodline's so popular right now. Maybe he's the alternative, like the Pepsi to the Coke, and you know you can root for both guys because I like both guys. I think they're both extremely talented and great at what they do. But some people are kind of like it's like Cena. You know, Cena's polarizing to some people. I like the guy, but you know when he comes out, they sing a song. It's either they sing a song or they say John Cena sucks. It's like,
Well, see, another big difference is that AEW there was no real direction for Cody. It's I'm Cody and I'm here and that's it. Whereas with WWE, okay, first night he's a surprise opponent in WrestleMania. He's fighting Seth, and it's yay, Cody's back, and he's American Nightmare Cody, not
not Stardust. Yeah.
exactly. So there was a shock value there, and then the very next night at Mania, at Raw, rather, sorry, we get the whole story with, my dad got to hold the belt, but he wasn't the champion. I want to win the belt for Dusty. And
Yeah.
that kind of planted the seed. When he cut that promo, I knew right then and there, oh, next year, Cody's winning the belt.
I think it's booking, man. It's just a matter of AEW. To me, a lot of times it looks like Tony Khan just kind of, it's like, what was the movie with Richard Pryor, The Toy, where he was a rich guy and the kid was rich and he got Richard Pryor as his buddy to play with him or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of what AEW to me is for Tony Khan. It's his toy. It's like if one of us had $1 billion and just said, hey, you know what? Hey, here's I want to see Kenny Omega, which by the way, I just saw Kenny Omega's wrestling Jeff Cobb, which is going to be incredible, I'm sure.
exactly.
It's like the Soul Train Scramble board. Let me take my Scrabble letters out and throw them on a table. And okay, the Young Bucks are going to wrestle the House of Black tonight, just out of.
And you know what? In the beginning, it worked. In the beginning, it was great.
And we talked about that at the last pay per
It's so
view.
much. It's so awesome that this Mark is giving us all these dream matches that everyone wants to see, and it's great. And after a while, you put on great matches, but there's nothing to get invested in. Like we watched, what was the last pay per view? Revolution. Revolution was a great show. Awesome
The
show,
matches
top
were
to bottom.
incredible, but the build up
But
was
the
like
build up stuck. There was
Double
no
J
story.
and Lethal. Yeah, it was like
There
why?
was no story, nothing to really care about. But they have awesome matches. They've got great matches. We just had Vikingo and Kenny Omega, and great match.
Good Lord.
But no build up.
Was that a good match?
There was no reason for that match to get done.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
I imagine Jeff Cobb and Omega. You think Omega's probably going to drop the belt to him? I bet the U.S. title from New Japan.
But again, no reason. There's no story, nothing to follow. I can miss.
I gotta get my
an
charger.
episode. Okay, I can miss an episode of Dynamite and watch this episode, and it wouldn't matter because I've at least gotten to see these great matches this week. Who cares what happened last week?
It's kind of like the Guns winning the tag titles. The Acclaim were so over.
Exactly.
I mean, I guess they don't need the belts, but the Guns, they're good. But I mean, to me, they're not even a top 10 team in that company.
But it's not even that. Everyone there is putting on great matches, so I can watch AEW or not watch AEW. When I tune in, whenever I decide to tune in, I'm going to see great matches, so it doesn't matter. Whereas with WWE, I've got to watch Raw and I've got to watch SmackDown because if I miss what happened last week, then I won't understand what's going on with the Bloodline this week. They've got the stories.
I think it's the difference between sports entertainment and wrestling. I really do. I think the sports entertainment, you have the long-term storylines, and I think that that whole booking of the Bloodline angle, I mean, and putting Cody in there for Cody's legacy and all that. It's just,
but even with sports entertainment versus wrestling, you have to have storytelling. The NWA wasn't sports entertainment; it was wrestling, but there was storytelling.
Yeah, well, that was a different
Memphis
era,
was wrestling, but it had storytelling. You have to have story. Even UFC has storytelling.
Yeah. Anyway, we got off track there, didn't we?
Well, But it still
yeah.
ties into
We haven't made a
basically.
prediction either.
Yeah, we still got to get a prediction, and
Oh, Cody.
Cody.
It's
Yeah,
Cody.
yeah. There's no way Roman's going over. I mean, I think the bloodline angle is run its course. I have a question. What do you guys think they're going to do with Heyman when all that breaks apart? You think he just rides off into the sunset and does producing?
no, I think he'll still be around because, like I said, if Roman's gone for a while, Solo is still there.
Would you put him with
Solo,
Solo?
yeah, let him be his mouthpiece for a while to basically represent the tribal chief while he's gone. And I'm pretty sure they have some sort of story angle if Roman is going to be gone for a certain period of time to basically be the mouthpiece for the bloodline or trying to rebuild the
And be the
bloodline.
and Solo could be the mercenary type or
Yeah,
whatever. He could
because
go
the
out
story the
and do the
story doesn't
business for
end
the.
at the story doesn't end at WrestleMania. You still have to have the downfall. So it's not the end of the story. It's part two of the story. Okay, we've had the rise of the bloodline. Now we have to have the fall of the
And
bloodline.
that block, if you will.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
So
that's
what say you, Curtis? What's your idea about all this?
Yeah, yeah. I think I've said this before, but I agree. I mean, Solo has to have Heyman as the mouthpiece and kind of have that effort where okay, you're trying to turn what seems like a big breakdown to just a minor setback. You're doing damage control, if you will, no pun intended. But so, and of course you got, and yeah, you eventually you're gonna have to build up Solo to kind of give some false hope of the bloodline, and then eventually you can kind of break that down from there, or let's say, or just kind of at least stay above water until Roman comes back, and then what you do from there, you pretty much got some opportunities there. But
Exactly.
I highly doubt that we're ever going to see Roman hold a title that long ever.
I think it'll be a while before anyone holds the title that long.
Exactly.
I don't think anyone else will ever do that. Probably just the way things are now. It's just they got too many guys that they can transition back and forth, and they got like maybe that was the time that they needed to do something like that, and they got so many young guys that we were talking about Gunther and Austin Theory and Montez Ford. They got guys that can split the belts and create so many more storylines and entertainment value and not lose anything.
That's going to be. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask. So, how do we split the belts?
We think we talked about that. Cody's probably going to drop one of them, but who's he going to? Maybe Rollins. I mean, I think that may be a viable because they've got history. I mean, Rollins and he wrestled. Didn't he eliminate Seth in the Royal Rumble? And they wrestled at that match where he tore his pec, and he was his opponent when he came back at WrestleMania. So
Logan Paul eliminated him at the Rumble. You mean this year? This year's
I
Rumble?
meant, well, I mean, Cody and Seth have history, so that's. I mean, I could see that being the opponent.
Well, I think.
But do you have him lose the belt right away, though? That's
I don't think he's going to lose. No, because then you've created a situation where you don't want. You don't want your champion who just got champion
to look weak.
To look weak. So I think
especially after
the belt himself.
Especially after beating Roman, who's had a forever title reign.
Exactly.
Have them
you can't have him lose like that. So I think he's going to pull something similar in a sense of changing how the title is viewed, like he did in ROH. Remember in ROH, he changed the belt into the ring. He had a champion. The ring was the the ROH championship. So I think he's going to split the titles.
Is he going to have a diamond on his finger like a certain other guy has?
There's the picture the specialty made belt, the nightmare belt.
I saw that. That was pretty sweet looking, actually.
I think that he may do something because remember, Triple H has commissioned new tag belts and new world title belt.
They need to do something with those belts. Those are not like the AEW belt is way superior to the WWE belt. I'm sorry.
So that's why I feel like that this will be the time with Cody winning it.
To
now
have
he can do something special with it. So
Winged
I
Eagle.
think this could be.
Winged Eagle belt. Sorry.
Dual
Sorry.
plate-
Sorry about
dual
that.
plate
What about
wing-
making something like the one his dad never won? I could see them doing that, right?
Yeah.
The belt Dusty never won, something similar to that.
That's going back to the old Backlund belt, if
Oh,
you
okay,
will.
the old
That
school.
was the belt that he fought Billy Graham for.
As
at that
long as
time.
it's not the North American title in NXT or that ugly
Nah,
belt from
no.
NWA that's the same that has the plate with the country. Oh my word! Stop.
I think Clinton has a point because WWE has been selling it on. Think about it on their website. They've been selling the retro belts, and of course, the dual-plated Wing Eagle has been one of the most popular belts they've ever sold, along with the dual-plated tag team belts.
I think it's the
Do not
best
be
belt I've ever
surprised.
had.
Was that Hogan? The Eagle belt was that Hogan's belt when he won it from
Yeah,
Iron
he
Sheik?
was the first.
Yeah.
He was the first one to win that
From
belt.
Sheiky,
to
baby.
wear that. Yeah. Well, it was the green belt, and then it went to the belt that kind of looked like the big Andre belt.
I remember that
and
green
then-
belt. Yeah.
Then it went to the Wing Eagle belt.
Yeah, okay.
So I think Cody's going to split it, and the Wing Eagle belt is going to make a return.
You know, it'd be cool is if they had like the Smoke and Skull belt, but they had the American Nightmare logo on it or something like that. That'd be
Well,
pretty
and
cool.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it
that
kind of
belt
looked.
that-
His new belt kind of looked like that. And if you look at the font on it, it has that Winged Eagle belt font.
Yeah, I saw it.
Where
Yeah.
his name.
So we're looking at that, but I think he's not going to lose it to split it. I think he's just going to split himself. And then that way, if someone like Gunther was to lose the Intercontinental Championship, now he can chase after the belt that's left over on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And that would
who
that
knows
would
if-
that
I
would
could
keep
never
him from
see that.
that would keep him from losing any kind of face from losing the belt. He
Yeah.
could just say, I don't,
Exactly.
I don't want or they could make him vacate one of them or something, or he could
Right.
decide, which show do you want to wrestle on? Yeah, that's way better booking than just having him lay down and job to somebody. You're right, for sure.
Definitely. Curtis, any final thoughts?
I'm just now. All I know is WrestleMania is going to answer a lot of questions, but we're going to be left with more questions than we probably think at that juncture. But I'm looking forward to it.
Lucky for us, we'll have plenty of podcasts to talk about that.
Definitely. So, ladies and gentlemen, that has been our predictions of the WrestleMania card coming up. It definitely has the makings of being one of the best WrestleManias ever. However, just because it looks good on paper doesn't mean it's going to look good in the ring.
It can't be worse than the Royal Rumble was, my word. Anyway.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.